Hello and welcome to our channel. Thank you to those of you who are returning and to those of you who are listening for the first time. We're grateful that you're taking time to listen to the Dhamma, and we're confident that the Dhamma will be a blessing to you. Today's talk is about memory. The Pali word for memory is sanna. It's not important that we learn a foreign language so that we can better understand the Dhamma, but there are some basic words that you'll come upon when you read a text and when you hear others talk about the Dhamma that may be worthwhile to remember, especially as this is a talk about memory. So there are other adjectives that define or describe what memory is. It's a perception. We have to be awake enough to perceive something through the six sense doors. We have to see it or hear it or smell it, taste it, touch it. And we have to recognize then what that thing is. So the second step, once we've perceived something, we need to recognize it. And when we're very young, there are mostly things we don't recognize because we're experiencing them for the first time. Once we have been told what that thing is or what that sound is, etc., it goes into our memory bank. So we cognize, that's something we do, and later we can recognize this thing that we cognized in the past. We experience recollecting, that's a form that memory takes. We recall events that have happened to us in the past, that's a memory. We reminisce. We like to talk with old friends. Recently I had a birthday party and family members and friends gathered, and we reminisced about experiences we had shared together in the past. Another thing that happens when we're experiencing or creating a memory is we have an opinion about it. We have an interpretation of the memory. So, for example, at this party there was a buffet bar set up, and there were lovely choices for what to eat. I'm confident that various guests had various opinions about the taste of the food that was presented. So that's their interpretation. They liked the salad, the choices that were offered, or they didn't, or they liked some and not others. So their memory is colored by their opinion of the experience they're having. There's also an element of conjecturing. We're trying to figure out what experience we might be having. We may not be certain because we haven't had that experience before. We don't recognize it. So we begin to imagine or try to figure out what experience we're having. We then have assumptions that this experience is the result of this or that or the other thing. And once we have had a memory, once we've created a memory rather, we assume that we have some certain kind of knowledge based on that memory. So we can define a memory as the ability to recognize and to designate. It's the perception of various characteristics, distinguishing features that enable us to remember. It's very basic. Usually we wake up in the morning, we recognize where we are, we know where the bathroom is or the kitchen or the living room, where our clothes are, how to get to work or to school, etc., how to turn on our smartphones and how to use them, all of this based on memory. So memory forms the basis for what we call time. Technically, there's only the present moment. Right now, listening to this Dhamma talk, that's all there is to our life or your life in the present moment. But a few minutes before you turn this on, earlier in the day or night, yesterday, last year, etc., is all dead and gone as a reality, and all that's left is your memory of it and the emotions that you formed while you were creating this memory. So the future then is our other temptation, and we're going to talk about that in the next Dhamma talk, so that when we're not living in the present moment, we have chosen, whether knowingly or not, to live in the past or in the future. And the future is not yet born. So one of our choices is to go back to a dead place, a kind of cemetery, or to go into a future place entirely built out of our imagination. This stringing together of one memory after another, after another, after another, gives us our sense of self. This is why we claim to be a person, to be someone, and to document this feeling by having these memories, which we can recall. Memories we've been told we were born on a day at a certain time in a certain place, our parents were such and so, etc. And this constitutes this new formation that we call myself. And memories therefore become a kind of refuge from the present moment. We like to go back and reminisce. We feel safer many times thinking about the past or the future than we do in the present moment. Now, one of the biggest problems with memories is they are not accurate. When three people witness the single event, they have different interpretations of it. Historically, there was a fun story of, I think, 4 or 5 men blind men, told to feel different parts of an elephant and then describe what an elephant is. And they each disagreed based on what they had experienced touching the elephant, and ended up arguing and then fighting one another because they didn't agree with what an elephant was. In the court system, 80% of all convictions based on eyewitness accounts are inaccurate. The persons believe they saw what they saw and they testify in good faith, but their own stuff, their own personality, their own history colors the stuff that they are then unable to see things as they really are. So Buddha's teaching is, for example, when eating, just eat, or when seeing, just see, and don't add your opinion to anything. Just try to have a direct experience of the present moment without coloring it with your personal likes and dislikes, based on past experiences and past memories. Thank you. Thank you for reaching the end of this short Dhamma talk. The next Dhamma talk will be on mental formations that are called sankharas. We always welcome any suggestions you have how to improve the channel, and we would especially appreciate topics you might like to hear us discuss. Thank you again.